Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 26th October 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 7 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So now let us try to see which are the topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture. So first one, it is about Mullaperiyar Dam. So here we need to know some important facts regarding this dam. Okay, so this will be important from our geography, which comes under GS paper 1. And next topic is about Indo-Pacific region. So actually it is an interview. Okay, so we are going to see some important points from that interview which are relevant from our UPSC point of view. And next topic is about emission report, that is carbon dioxide emissions report, and this will be very important from our environment and ecology point of view, which comes under this GS paper 3. And next topic is about globalization and technology. So how this globalization, which is mainly favoring China, and what is the relevance of Quad, we are going to see that. That will be important from our international relations, which mainly comes under our GS paper 2. And next topic is about J&K issue. Actually this is a political article, but we need to get some important points, that is what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir and what are the steps taken by central government. So that will be important. Okay, and next topic is about GHI, Global Hunger Index. Actually since 1 week onwards we are seeing articles regarding this GHI, right? So again we need to see that. That will be important from our society point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And next topic is about our new formulas. Okay, regarding this, our new formulas, due to farmers who are doing protest, here Supreme Court gave a recent judgment, right? Like there should be a peaceful protest, but it should not go for blockading of roads because it will cause inconvenience for general public. So in this context, there is one analysis regarding this formulas that is seen in page number 6. So that will be important from our polity, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. So now let us try to discuss all these articles in a very great detail. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first topic. Title says Supreme Court tells panel to fix maximum water level at Mullaperiyar Dam. Okay, so this is this Mullaperiyar Dam. So this Mullaperiyar Dam, which is located in Idukki district, which is located in state of Kerala. One important thing that you might get surprised here is, so this Mullaperiyar Dam, which is mainly in Kerala state, but this dam which is controlled by Tamil Nadu. So this is a thing that you need to remember. And now let us try to see some facts regarding this Mullaperiyar Dam. So before that, let us try to see context. As you all know, in Kerala there is heavy rainfall. So because of this heavy rainfall, that is led to landslips, okay, in Kottayam, and even that led to more than 42 people, they lost their life. And also we can see there is torrential rainfall that is happening and floods in Kerala. So because of this, now Supreme Court directed supervisory committee to take some immediate and firm decision to maintain what will be the maximum level of water that can be maintained in this Mullaperiyar Dam. So because of this torrential rainfalls in Kerala, so now Supreme Court directed this supervisory committee to take an immediate and as well as a firm decision regarding maximum level of water that can be maintained in this Mullaperiyar Dam. So now let us try to see some facts regarding this dam. So this dam, which is mainly 123-year-old dam. So this Mullaperiyar Dam, it is a 123-year-old dam, and it is mainly located at the place of confluence of this Mullayyar and as well as Periyar river. So Mullayyar, it is one of the tributary of this Periyar river. So wherever this Mullayyar which is coming and joining this Periyar river, at that confluence we have this Mullaperiyar Dam. And this dam, if you are talking about height, it is about 53.66 meters, and if you see the length it is about 365.85 meters in length. Okay, so this is some important facts. And if you see this dam, which is mainly operated by Tamil Nadu. So Tamil Nadu mainly operates this dam here, and it can divert water here, especially for drinking water purposes and even irrigation requirements of especially 5 of its southern districts. Okay, so this dam, it is mainly operated by Tamil Nadu. So why? Because according to 999-year lease agreement, So this agreement made between British rule and as well as here Tamil Nadu. And what happened, so this rights, okay, this British rule which gave this operational rights, okay, to Tamil Nadu. So this dam mainly intends to divert waters. Actually this Periyar, it is a west flowing river, right? So this west flowing river water, it is mainly diverted towards rain shadow regions of this Tamil Nadu region. So what is this rain shadow region? For example, if you have any mountains or hills here, so whenever moist laden winds, okay, so whenever moist laden winds, whenever they are hitting this type of relief structures, then what happens, that will lead to rainfall or precipitation in windward side. For example, let us take this as a mountain or a hill. So whenever moist laden winds, that is the winds, they are mainly carrying moisture, whenever they are hitting these structures, that will lead to precipitation here, right? That will lead to formation of rainfall here. But if you see, whenever winds are moving after giving rainfall here, so it will not cause any rainfall here. So this region which is mainly behind this mountain or hill, we can say it as rain shadow region. As we know, here we have Western Ghats and here we have Tamil Nadu. So because of this area will get good rainfall and this area will not get good rainfall. So because of this, in this rain shadow regions of Tamil Nadu, so from this Mullaperiyar Dam, which is mainly diverting water especially for drinking and as well as irrigation facilities, right? And now let us try to see some facts regarding this Periyar River. So if you are talking about this Periyar River, so Periyar River, it is one of the longest river in state of Kerala, and length it is about 244 kilometers length. And this Periyar River is also known as lifeline of Kerala. So why it is called as lifeline of Kerala? Because it is one of the perennial river channel. We can see there is a continuous flow of water in this stream. And if you are talking about where is this river originated, so this river got originated from Sivagiri Hills, okay, Sivagiri Hills of Western Ghats. And the main important tributaries of this Periyar include Murti Puza, Mullayar, Cherutoni, and as well as Perinjakutu, okay, Perinjakutti. So these are some important tributaries. And wherever this Mullaperiyar which is joining this Periyar River, so we have here this dam. And if you are talking about location of this Mullaperiyar Dam, here we have, this is our river Periyar, and here we have Periyar Lake, and here we have Mullaperiyar Dam, right? And now let us move on to next topic. Title says Indo-Pacific will become center of the world. So he is a person, he gave interview. He is British Foreign Secretary. So now let us try to see some important points regarding this topic that is most important from our UPSC, because you need to get some points what is happening around us, right? So if you are talking about context, British Foreign Secretary, he said India was essential in ensuring free, open, inclusive and as well as prosperous Indo-Pacific. Why there is Indo-Pacific that is seen highly in news? Because already in our earlier lectures or in our earlier editorial analysis, we studied that when there is a power shifting from west towards east, that is seen, okay, from Atlantic Ocean towards Indo-Pacific Ocean, there is shifting of power that is seen, because in this eastern region we have number of countries that are emerging, right? So because of this, there is shifting of power from this west towards east that is seen. So because of this, now most of the countries, they kept their eye on this Indo-Pacific region. So if you see further regarding this topic, it mainly says that so UK has significant interest in its part of the world here, and because of this, in Indo-Pacific region also UK came up with more investments, okay. So it also invested so much in this region in different ways, and there are some few countries in the world, they essentially determine the world's climate here. So in this Indo-Pacific region, those two countries include India and China. So if you're talking about India, we have here Himalayas. Himalayas, they play an important role in our world climate, and even here, if you're talking about this Himalayas, they plays an important role in Indian monsoon. So not only Indian monsoon, if you see here Australia, it is present. So here Himalayas, which is also have an important role which is played in climate of this Australia and as well as South Africa, and as well as even I can say like South America as well. So if you see Africa here, okay, so here what happened in Indian monsoon, we will become across mascarene high, right? So in this mascarene high, so there is a link between here Madagascar and as well as Himalayas. So in this way we can say like Indian climate or India, which plays an important role in world climate system, and not only India but even China. And if you see, next important question which mainly asked is it possible to isolate China with global supply chains or heavily depend upon? So is it possible? Okay, so next question it is about is it possible to isolate China or not? So in this context here, this person mainly gave answer like it is not a Cold War, it is a different kind of world. So in this present situation, each and every country, they need to think and they need to adapt to the consequences of both powerful China, and also we need to come up with some strategies. Okay, we need to adapt ourselves to this as well, and we can adapt our changes and we can come up with our changes here, and those are mainly result of our Chinese behavior. So these are the some things which mainly said by him, and he gave a very balanced answers to those questions. So one more question here asked here is what are the major issues which the COP, Conference of Parties in Glasgow, hopes to achieve? So what are the major issues? So he said that already we have a good agreement, that is Paris Climate Deal or Paris Agreement, right? So here we need to achieve those things which are mainly addressed in this Paris Climate Deal. And he said about every country should come up with their own contribution, own energies contributions. And next one is he also said that India has an incredibly important role to play, especially in this Indo-Pacific region. So India should be a huge actor in this area. So one important great advantage for India it has solution in its own hands. So these are the things which mainly said by this secretary. So this is about this topic, and if you want to read this full article, you can read and you can get some insights into this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is about carbon dioxide emissions in 2020 above decadal average. So it is according to our WMO, World Meteorological Organization report. So World Meteorological Organization which came up with a report, and this report which mainly talks about carbon dioxide emissions, methane emissions, etc. And if you see this infographic which is given here, which mainly talks about unclean air. So key greenhouse gas emissions, they rose faster in year 2020. Okay, so in 2020 there is key increasing of emissions, that is our greenhouse gas emissions. So greenhouse gas emissions which mainly rose faster in 2020 year than when you are comparing with that of average. Okay, so if you see here parameter, that is 2020 global mean abundance. Here they talked about pre-industrial levels, and next one is 2020 abundance to 1750, and as well as they also talk about 2019-2020 absolute increase. So these are some important things that you can know about carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrogen dioxide. Okay, nitrogen oxide. So now let us try to see some important details which are given in this article. So if you see context, it mainly says that a report which may be released by WMO, World Meteorological Organization, and this report, okay, and this report mainly says that there is increase in carbon dioxide emissions from 2019 to 2020. There is increasing of carbon dioxide emissions, and if you see, it was slightly lower than that observed from 2018 to 2019. So when we are comparing with this emissions with 2018 to 2019, so there is somewhat less, okay, slightly lower. So because of COVID-19 imposed restrictions, COVID-19 imposed lockdown, there might be significant drop in this carbon dioxide emissions. So this is one perception. And this one is ahead of crucial talks that we are going to see in next week, that is at Glasgow COP26. Here now countries, they will attempt to negotiate. These countries, they will come up with their ways to stem global greenhouse gas emissions. And here these countries, they need to update their data as well, right? So if you're talking about further more details, especially for methane, so what is the formula of methane? CH4. So for this methane, there is increase, okay, there is increase from 2019 to 2020, which was higher than that observed from 2018 to 2019. So when we are comparing with this 2018 to 2019, in this 2019 to 2020, so methane has been increased, okay, emissions of this methane has been increased. And if you are talking about nitrous oxide, NXO, I can say NXO, so there is increase was higher than the average annual growth of past 10 years. Of past 10 years, what was the increase? Okay, so now for that there is increasing of this nitrous oxides. So if you are talking about concentration of carbon dioxide, the most significant greenhouse gases, they reached 413.2 parts per million in 2020, and it is 149% of pre-industrial level as well. So there is also increasing of concentration of carbon dioxide, right? And it reached 113, okay, 113.2 parts per million in 2020, but it was 100 okay, so it was 149% of pre-industrial levels. So if you're talking about methane, that is CH4, okay, CH4, it is formula of this methane, and methane, it is 262%, okay. And if you're talking about nitrous oxide, it is about 123% when we are comparing with the levels, right? And if you're talking about roughly the half of carbon dioxide, which mainly emitted by these human activities, today they remain in atmosphere. So because of this carbon dioxide which is present in atmosphere, that is leading to global warming, right? And if you're talking about what will be the impact, so impact will be, so because of carbon dioxide which is present in our atmosphere, that will lead to global warming, right? So greenhouse gas emissions which mainly increased, right, by 47%, and carbon dioxide itself which is mainly increased about 80% of increase. So whenever we are having this current rate of increasing of this greenhouse concentration, then the temperature will be automatically increased. So whenever the temperature is increased, that is leading to melting of our glaciers. So because of melting of our glaciers, there will be threat for especially coastal areas. So people from these coastal areas, they will move into inside. That will lead to socio-economic consequences, and many animals, they will extinct, right? So there will be some changes in our climate. So everything will lead to irreversible damage for human and as well as ecosystem, right? So this is about this topic, and now let us move on to next topic. Title says a bubbles of trust approach. So it is mainly talking about middle path. So we should not go for extreme globalization, and we should not go for technology sovereignty. So we need to have a median path, that is bubbles of trust approach. So this article which is important from our international relations, especially which comes under GS paper 2. So this topic will be very important from your upcoming mains. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see central theme, it mainly says that this offer, okay, so this bubbles of trust approach which mainly offers middle path or median path between extremes of technological sovereignty and as well as laissez-faire globalization. So here you need to understand what is this globalization. For example, let us take, there is one country 1 and country 2. So country 1 which mainly go for mainly agriculture production, so it do not have proper development in manufacturing services. Let us see this country 2, it is very much good in manufacturing. And if you see this country 3 which is very much good in services. So not even a single country which is self-sufficient. So it have to depend on so and so countries for other services or other goods, right? So because of this, so we can say like globalization means nothing but there is growing interdependence of one country or another country. For example, world economies and as well as cultures, population, etc. This is about globalization. I hope you understand that. So because of this globalization, that will lead to cross-border trade in goods, cross-border trade in services, technology transfers, and inflow of investments, people and information, etc. So this is about this globalization. And if you're talking about now, we are having asymmetric globalization. Because of this asymmetric globalization, it is mainly favoring China. So this asymmetric globalization which mainly allowed Beijing to attain power, and it is now mainly using that power to undermine liberal democratic values. And with that power now, it is mainly using that undermining liberal democratic values around the world. And if you're talking about China, we saw there is expansions, aggressive expansions policy, and it is coming up with keeping investments in different areas. It is mainly developing pearls. That concept is called as string of pearls, right? So Chinese market was never open to foreign countries or foreign companies in the way how foreign markets, they are opening their markets for these Chinese firms. So particularly if you are talking about information and technology and communication technology sector, so there is no opening of these sectors, especially for these foreign companies. And now we are talking about at present, now we are witnessing a global retreat from free movement of goods, services, capital, people, and as well as ideas. So in this era, whenever we are not opening the areas, for example, information and technology and communication technology sector for other foreign individuals, then it will mainly lose the trust here. Okay, so in this context, we need to understand the reaction to this globalization itself. So it is a very skewed pattern that had been coming from past 4 decades. So if you're talking about what is this Quad's advantage, as you all know, Quad mainly contains 4 countries: Japan, India, Australia, and USA. And these countries, okay, Japan, Australia, India, and USA, they have an opportunity, especially to stop seeing engagement with China. Okay, so because now we are seeing there is unstable or we can see like asymmetric globalization. So because of that, it is favoring China. So the roots of every member's prosperity and as well as power, which mainly lies in international trade. Okay, so in this context, your Quad members, they have advantage to create a new forum of economic cooperation, and these mainly should be consistent with their geopolitical interest. And if you're talking about popular backlash against China, which is mainly pushing Quad governments towards policies of self-reliance. Now these countries are mainly going towards of policies of self-reliance. And what happened? So in this way, what happened? There will be reorientation and as well as the de-risking of global supply chains that can be seen here. Okay, so in this context, if you're talking about if there is any country which is very much self-reliant, or it is mainly having critical and emerging technologies, no, okay, no country which have, okay, no single country which can replicate combined genius of the world. So if you're talking about US, it is a global leader in intellectual property, and Japan, which is mainly having high value manufacturing, and Australia, which is having advanced niches such as quantum computing and as well as cyber security. And if you see in India, we have huge human capital. So because of all these configuration values and interests, and we can go for good opportunities. We have good opportunities in our near future. So if you're talking about this idea of bubbles to trust, it mainly offers a cautious middle path. So this middle path, it is between extremes of technological sovereignty and even between our globalization. So it is mainly between technological sovereignty and as well as laissez-faire globalization. So if you are talking about, there are many trading blocks. So unlike these trading blocks, which may tend to insular, bubbles, they tend to expand organically. So how these bubbles may be helpful, bubbles of trust. So this will be very much helpful for expanding, and these are very much helpful for attracting of investments, and even they will be helpful for sharing of values, interest, and as well as economic complementaries. So if you're talking about this Quad group, it is having a critical and emerging technology working group, and it mainly well placed to develop necessary bubbles of trust framework, and this mainly going to adopt it in our next Quad summit. So this is one welcome step. And next one is, when we are having such type of frameworks, then it would be very much helpful to allow the scope of cooperation to be limited to information industries, and also avoiding long and complex negotiation types of trade agreements, etc. And if you're talking about what is the need here, so first one is, we need to be successful, that the working group must seek to strengthen geopolitical convergences. So we need to strengthen our geopolitical convergences, and we need to develop our increase in faith. Okay, so increase in faith is also very important. So increase in faith in each member and as well as state of judicial systems, and even we need to develop or we need to deepen our economic ties, and we need to boost trust in one another citizens. So these are the some important things that can be done. So first one is we can strengthen geopolitical convergences, and we need to increase faith, and we need to go for good judicial systems, and we need to deepen our economic ties, and we need to boost our trust, right? And not only this, we need to go for an agenda, and agenda it is cannot be about substituting China, but we need to come up with an approach, and this approach it would allow Quad countries to manage their dependencies on China, and simultaneously we need to develop a new vision for global economy as well. So these are the some important things that you need to remember regarding this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says mixed messaging. So this article mainly talking about Jammu and Kashmir situation. So what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir that you need to know as an UPSC aspirant, and as well as you need to understand what are the steps that are taken by government. Okay, so now let us try to see this topic. So central theme mainly says that the center seems unclear about political processes and need for normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir. So if you want to understand background, we need to go back to 2019 August. So in 2019 August, and exactly on 5th and 6th here, so our government came up with revocation of two articles, Article 370 and Article 35A of Indian Constitution, which mainly talks about the special category status for this Jammu and Kashmir. After that revocation or dilution of those articles, the government came up with this Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act. And through this act, here erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir state divided into two union territories. First one is Union Territory of Ladakh, second one is Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir with the Legislative Assembly. Okay, so this is some background that you need to remember. So here if you see recently our Home Minister, our Union Home Minister, he went for a first visit to Jammu and Kashmir after revocation of these articles, that is after this August 5th, 2019. Now our Home Minister went for a visit here. Okay, so this is the thing that you need to remember, and here there is some background which is given regarding Article 370, which mainly diluted on August 5th, and later on because of this Reorganization Act, Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019, here Jammu and Kashmir divided into two union territories, and Jammu and Kashmir, which has been under central rule since June 2018 onwards. And what happened because of this central rule in this Jammu and Kashmir, the political and as well as the parliamentary subterfuge mainly seen in this reorganization of this erstwhile state. Okay, and later on what happened, so if you see here, so this 3-day visit of our Union Home Minister mainly underscores the progress of Jammu and Kashmir since reorganization. Since reorganization, government took many steps, especially for development of this Jammu and Kashmir. So here they are mainly focusing to increase tourism. Okay, so because tourism it is one of the important source of economy for this Jammu and Kashmir, and as well as they are going for different developmental and as well as welfare projects in this Jammu and Kashmir. So now center has made a restoration of statehood for this Jammu and Kashmir. So this is the one of the end game for an unclear political process. Okay, so here it must establish a mechanism for dialogue with the people. So this is the one important thing that we need to focus here. So what happened in June, our Prime Minister also met political leaders of Jammu and Kashmir in Delhi, and from them there is no follow up in what is happening in this Jammu and Kashmir. So because of this we can say that, so what is the policies regarding this Jammu and Kashmir, there is no clear, that is unclear political process that we can see in Jammu and Kashmir. So finally, whenever our Home Minister is going to a visit for this Jammu and Kashmir to look after welfare schemes and how are these running on, so it is one of the right gesture in terms of visiting victims. And there is also recently there is a violence in Jammu and Kashmir that mainly seen, and recently about 11 terrorists, if I am not wrong, they were killed in Jammu and Kashmir, and there are also many civilians, they were attacked by this terrorist. So because of this is one of the right gesture in terms of visiting victims of recent violence and as well as interactions with the locals. It is very important thing, and it is far from enough actually. So here, whenever government is which want to take any welcome step here, so those steps need to be much honest and as well as that need to be open to be effective. Actually this is a political article, but you need to understand what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir. So because of this, I selected this topic for discussion today. And next topic is about a reminder that India still trails in hunger fight. So this article mainly talking about methodology which are mainly used for global hunger index, which is not based on facts. So this thing that we are going to discuss now, this is about our global hunger index. So now let us try to see some details of this global hunger index and what this article trying to say. So we're talking about this global hunger index. So recently global hunger index released and India's rank is 101 out of 116 in this 2021. And if you see in 2020 it is 94 by 116, right? So in 2020 we got good score than compared to that of this year's score. So if you see some facts, it mainly says that, so this is an annual report. Every year report will be released, and this report, it is mainly jointly published by concerned worldwide and as well as Wealth Hunger Life. And this report started published in year 2006. So from that 2006, every year this report will be published in month of October, right? And this 2021 edition, it is 16th edition of this GHI, Global Hunger Index. So why this Global Hunger Index mainly released? Because to comprehensively measure and to track hunger at global, at regional and as well as country levels. To track them, so we need a comprehensive measure. And if you're talking about calculation, that will be based on mainly 4 indicators. Already we know that, right? First one is undernutrition, next one is child stunting, child wasting and as well as child mortality. So if you're talking about undernourishment, that means people, they are not getting sufficient caloric diet. And next one is wasting. So wasting means under age of 5 years of child there is a low weight, and stunting means under age of 5 there is low height to age. And next one is mortality. Mortality is about children who lost their life below 5 years of age. So these are the 4 indicators of this calculation of this global hunger index. And if you're talking about scoring, it will be from 0 to 100. So 0 it is the best score and 100 will be the worst score, right? And if you're talking about data collection, which is mainly talking about this article, so undernourishment data, which is mainly provided by FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, and child mortality data, which is mainly from United Nations Interagency Group for Child Mortality Estimation. So these are the 2 important sources for this data. And if you're talking about child wasting and stunting data, they are mainly from the databases of UNICEF and as well as WHO databases and World Bank. Okay, so these are the some important databases to get data regarding this child wasting and as well as child stunting. And if you're talking about undernourishment, it is from FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, and child mortality data, that is from United Nations Interagency Group for Child Mortality Estimation. So if you're talking about Government of India stand, so the Ministry of Women and Child Development, which mainly criticize the report, because here they are getting data from this FAO and as well as United Nations IGME and World Bank data, and next one is World Health Organization and UNICEF data. So if you're talking about this FAO data, which is says that it is unscientific, because according to government, the Global Hunger Index Report 2021, it is mainly taking data of undernourishment from this FAO report. So FAO report, that is on the state of food security and nutrition in the world 2021. So here this report, which is mainly ignoring some facts. For example, it is mainly based on 4-question opinion poll, and it is mainly done telephonically. So by making calls, they conducted this survey. So there is a scientific measurement of undernourishment that mainly require measurement of, we need to take measurement of weight and as well as height. And here in the telephonic call or telephonic conservation, we can't get all these height and weight things. And next one is report completely disregards government's massive efforts to ensure food security of entire population. And as well as during this COVID-19 periods, government came with a number of schemes, that is Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, as well as Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme, etc. So they are mainly disregarded. Okay, so because of this is one cause of concern. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says end the impasse. So it is mainly talking about our farmer protest regarding new farm bills. So this article will be important from our GS paper to under polity. So now let us try to talk about this topic in a very great detail. So if you see central theme, it mainly says that a solution is needed for core issues concerning farmers and not merely for roadblocks. Okay, so we need a solution just not for the roadblocks, but what are the issues which are facing by farmers. So this is the thing which is mainly focusing about. So if you're talking about context here, as you all know, government which mainly passed 3 farm bills, and because of this farm bills, so across the country there was a protest that is seen, especially now protests still continuing in states of Punjab, Haryana and some areas of Delhi here. So what happened here, the time may have come for more concerted effort by government and the protesting farmers, and they need to find a solution to prolong impasse over these 3 agriculture related laws. So recently these 3 agriculture related laws enacted. So because of this farmers, they started protest here, right? So now we got a good time mainly to come up with a effort that we need to find a solution for this problem. So recently Supreme Court said that public roads, they cannot be blocked indefinitely by farmers or by protesters. So whenever protests they are mainly doing with which are mainly free from arms, also whenever they are blocking road means that will leads to inconvenience for general public. So because of this, blocking of roads should not be done. Okay, so in an observation in the context that more petitions from members of public, they complaining that their right to free movement has been curtailed. So whenever farmers are going for protest and whenever they are blocking the roads, so the people's right for free movement has been curtailed. So because of this, Supreme Court said that they should not block roads. So the court has said a solution to be found between these farmers and as well as the government here. So roads cannot be blocked for long, but we need to go for coming up with a solution. So if you're talking about this judgment which is given by Supreme Court by the reference to earlier judgments, that is Shaheen Bagh protest. So this Shaheen Bagh protest, that is against this Constitutional Citizenship Amendment Act, that is CAA. So where here Supreme Court said that public ways and public spaces, they cannot be blocked indefinitely during even a peaceful protest. During even a peaceful protest here, so here people did not have right mainly to block public ways and as well as public spaces. And if you're talking about what is the need here, so first one is the conflict between these 2 competing rights, that is right to movement, okay, right to free movement and freedom to protest. It is not only the accept that we need immediate action, but we need to come up with a solution regarding what are the issues of farmers. For example, farmers, they are mainly asking for demanding of some reforms in these laws, and they are also demanding for statutory validation for these MSPs. Okay, so these issues that can be cleared. And late last year, protesting farmers and union ministers, they did come to a partial agreement on decriminalizing this stubble burning and as well as safeguarding power subsidies, etc. here. So the important objective it is regarding this article, it mainly says that it is not just about what are this law, that is a freedom of free movement and as well as the freedom of protest, but here we need to go for eliminating of deep differences that is present between government and farmers here. So we need reforms immediately. So this is gist of this topic. I hope it is clear. So by this I am concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you so much.